Hi, everyone. This is Maria Schmidt, and I am so happy to be here. This is our very first live stream of a new series that we will be doing every Sunday at 4 o'clock, and hopefully to invite you to explore and just find out what's out there in the rest of the world within our realm. We're happy to present the first series of Revealing the Mysteries of. And of course, no other country can we proudly start off with, but with Romania. So we're delighted that you're here. We're hoping that you can share our video, please. I ask you to, just so that you can share the joy of what you're going to be seeing. We're going to be discovering a lot of things about Romania today. It's not just about our tour, but for those that are not going to be able to come, you'll be able to see some of the, listen to and even hear about some of the myths and legends of Romania from actual Romanians. I do ask you, though, to be patient. This is only going to last about an hour. At the very end, we will be having some incredible announcements that will flip you out. In addition, we'll also be giving you a promo code so that if you're interested in joining our tour, you can get a little bit of a discount. So do plan to stay with us. We are proud to have you here. We thank you for being here as we present the mystery of Romania. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with something kind of just to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing. And here we go. Well, if that doesn't get you going, nothing will, because Romania is fabulous. And there's so much that we're going to have to discuss in this short time of an hour, but I think we can get a lot done. And hopefully you will enjoy enough to consider joining our tour. But before I do that, I want to I'll let you know again to wait till the very end because we have some special announcements. And we're also going to be giving you a link that you can subscribe to our Vagabonds of Romania so that we can send you a copy of this video as well as other promotions and even a good contest to join up with. So I want you to learn about the experience of what we're going to be doing in Romania. I am not an expert. I love putting the tours together, and believe me, this tour was curated to include the most spectacular, the most mysterious, the most mystical places in Romania. But that's as far as my talent goes. My ambassadors are the ones that fulfill the rest of what the experience for Mysterious Adventure Tours. And for this, we need a wonderful witch. We need a spectacular good witch and a phenomenal psychic medium. We also needed an incredibly handsome vampire, a man that has been an influencer in the vampire culture. I present to you Patti Negri and Father Sebastian. Here we go.
Hello, that was such a great intro. Thank you so much, Maria. Hi, everybody. Hi. We just clicked off our class and clicked onto here. I'm exhausted.
I'm homesick with COVID quarantining, so I've got the 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay. Do you still have to wear a mask if you're talking to us through a microphone?
No, not through a microphone, but definitely when I'm going in the elevator to go take out the garbage. I have to be really careful with my neighbors because I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Oh, and you are so responsible. And these guys are phenomenal, and that's why they're involved with our tour. And before I go into the specifics about some of the incredibleness of Romania and expose some of these mysteries and legends, as a true Romanians can only do, I thought talking about the experience of what you guys as contributors will be there to help us with when we tour Romania.
Well,
Because I could not do this by myself.
absolutely. And I've already been to Romania.
Mhm.
Back in 2016, I got contacted by a Romanian vampire witch named Andrea Bathory. And I thought it was a fake profile. And I called him up on Facebook Messenger and before I bought my plane ticket. And I go, "Are you real?" And he goes, "Hello." And I'm like, "What the hell? Is that a fake accent?" And he's like, "No, I'm from Romania. What do you expect?" and that was my introduction to him. And I went to Romania and we had a fabulous time. He brought me to Brand Castle. He brought me all these adventures. I thought I was gonna like be thrown into a secret ritual by a cult or something, but he brought me there. It was great. And I'll put my video up of my adventure right before we go because and I hope to see Andrea there.
That would be, I wish she would join us. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Father Sebastian, before we go on, I know you well. I've gotten to know you very well, and I'm so proud to call you my friend. But could you now give us an introduction of who you
Sure.
are?
My job is to make fangs and throw parties for people to wear them. So I've got to know the vampire world very, very well. And I've met more vampires than anybody alive in history of humanity. Okay, the collective consciousness of mankind, I have put these hands in more vampire mouths than anybody who's been alive. Okay, and now I run a company called Sabretooth 3D at sabretooth.com, just like the Marvel Comics superhero. And I make 3D printed fangs for people who love the vampire aesthetic. And I throw the Endless Night vampire balls for people to come together and wear the fangs and dress up and feel amazing and really good. So I feel like I'm a vampire dad. That's why I go by Father Sebastian. It didn't start out as a priest title. But
we're just going to say, let them know your expertise in all things, the historic, the informational. He's a walking encyclopedia as well as living it.
I'm a huge fan of history and esoteric knowledge. So anything esoteric from ancient historical Mithras cults to the origin of anthropological perspectives on early shamanistic religions to I'm just curious about all the mystical stuff. And I come from a anthropological perspective. I don't come from a mystical perspective, but the thing is that I am an energy sensitive. And I always try to look at the profane world first, the muggle world, and look at it from the eyes of that. But I keep getting drawn into the paranormal. And I've had legitimate paranormal experiences, okay, where I've been possessed twice, okay, that I'll talk about. I won't get into the other ones. And one was in Romania, okay, and I'll tell that story. But the spirit that got me was legit, man. It was like having a roommate in your head. And I went to bed and I woke up and it's still there. And I did an exorcism ritual to get rid of it. And
was it at Braun Castle on the property? From what
it wasn't at the property. The Bren Castle is devoid of spirituality. It's a dry zone. It's like the Paris catacombs. There's no ghosts down there. Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's historically amazing. Mm-hmm. Okay. But that doesn't mean that the area around it is not haunted. Okay. So you're safe in the castle. Okay, but you leave the property of the castle and there's spirits like zombies against the wall. Like, yeah. Like, all right, let me in. All right. And I did a ritual summoning an ancient Romanian spirit in like something that looked like the Addams Family house. It was a hotel with Andrea Bathory. and it was under the full moon. And I remember going out and looking up at the full moon over Brand Castle, and the atmosphere was there, and the entity came in the room and possessed me. And I'm comfortable. Most men are not good at channeling spirits because women have the energetic body and they're designed for having more than one spirit in their body. Okay. Men have a very difficult time in general channeling spirits that were once human.
Interesting.
Okay. Because women are built for that. They make babies. Okay. It's your
We
speciality.
can share the space.
Yes. You can share the space temporarily. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is that those who have children have been possessed. I mean, there's no way to describe it. Like, I knew what it was like to be kind of pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the spirit I was talking to had a voice and a personality and an accent. Okay. You know, babies speak with emotion. Okay. This spirit was fully awake and mature. And I remember being at a pit stop on the highway. We pulled over, and I was like so excited to be possessed. I'm like, this is great. And I went to these people that were sitting across at another table. It was like a you know, those European pit stops where you get off and you have the thing. And I was going to the people, I got a spirit in my head. It's so cool. I got the
And they pulled out their garlic.
Well, they looked at me like I had two heads, and my friend Andrea was like, what are you doing? Don't tell everybody you're possessed. And I was like, this is great. And then the spirit was like, you know what it was like? It was like if you've seen the movie Venom. Okay. All right. It was like having that spirit, and you know, like you're having a conversation with yourself, but it's two spirits in the same body. Excuse me. I'm a little sick with COVID.
And just in case you're scaring anybody off from going on the tour, if anybody does get possessed, we know how to handle it. We have both.
That's why we brought in Patti.
We have both occult trained, magically trained.
What a wonderful segue, because I want to introduce Patti Negri.
Okay.
And
I'm like,
I would like to think that most people know who Patti is, but just in case.
Okay. I am a psychic and a medium from birth. I've been talking to and channeling the other side since I was a little kid, doing seances since I was 7 or 8. And studied it my entire life after age 13 to figure out what is this gift I have. And one of my gifts is really seeing through the veil. So when I was a kid, before I even knew anything, I would drive by a church or a temple or a mosque or a synagogue or a park or a haunted castle, and I'd see what was in there, and I wanted to see what that is and the magic of it. So we're going to be able to sense all this. But then the next part of my gift is that since I was 7, I know how to raise that veil between. So even if they're not at Brand Castle, we can invite them in if we want to. We could specifically invite in who we want, because again, that's what we are both trained to do. You can come, you can't come. We have a doorman, a good spirit doorman of sorts. So you're going to get a tour that no one's going to get anywhere, having Father Sebastian, again, who is a ritualist and occultist and magical vampire and makes fans and party, and me, who's been practicing this my entire adult life. Again, I've studied this my whole life. A lot of people know me from Ghost Adventure. We both met on Ghost Adventures. I thought it was 5 years ago. Maybe it's 4 years ago. Seems like forever. No, on Ghost Adventures, and I've been working that show for 6 years now, regularly. Do lots of shows. We both do, but it's this understanding of the other side and controlling of the other side. So you guys are going to get something like between Maria and her travel expertise and knowledge of where to go and how to get us there correctly. Chris, Hattie's everywhere.
Safely.
I know. Fake, no. But I'm so excited about doing this because you know, here in the U.S., especially West Coast, we don't have that many old places or historic places. So we're going to all these great vampire places, and we're going to witchy places.
Whoa! What do you mean we don't have old places, Patty? We got the pyramids.
I know, but I said I meant West Coast. I meant West, like the West Coast of California. The oldest thing we have is mining towns. I've been to every mining town. We don't have castles like we're going.
We have mammoth ruins. Dead mammoths.
Yes, we do. And we live right by La Brea tar pits, but they will not let you dance around and do rituals around the pits.
Oh, no.
She's tried. She's tried.
I bet.
So yes, it's absolutely, I mean, once you start looking at the itinerary for where we're going to be going to, and we only pick 4 of the spots to really highlight because we don't have enough time, but the 4 most absolutely engaging, the most powerful sites in Romania. And one of them happens to be somewhere where perhaps we'll do rituals. Who knows? And we'll let you guess which one it is when you see the itineraries. I want to keep you guys on here at the very end. Please stay tuned. We're going to be adding a 3rd guest star, someone that's going to make a trifecta. And this is a surprise. No one knows about this yet. So just hold on to your seats. In the meanwhile, gosh, you know what? I forgot to bring in our very special guest, and will be in the bus with us in Romania. And I'm surprised that you guys didn't say, where is he? So I'm going to just go ahead and bring him on in. Do you mind?
Oh.
Hello, friends. I am Count Dracula. I have just heard you may be coming here to Transylvania to celebrate a special day. 125 years ago, my biography was written by a ghost writer named Bram Stoker. Yes, just a mere 125 years ago. But do remember, time has no meaning for me, for I have plenty of time left. But you don't. On May 24th, 2022, come and retrace my bloody steps, my life's journey in Romania. Back then, I was still alive and traveled well. Explore, if you dare, the places that molded my wicked and sinister life. You will visit where I was born, where I was imprisoned, and where I reigned. You will search for phantoms and the undead. But most of all, you will have a full night of supernatural ecstasy in my noble, immortal home, the Bran Castle. So hurry now, for only 40 mortal souls will be with us. Come and be part of a band of gypsy vagabonds that will arrive here in my homeland of Romania on May 24th, 2022. For 10 days, you will experience my immortal life, if you dare. I await your warm, bloody arrival to this frightening celebration of me.
How could I forget Count Dracula? Yes, so the whole influence of the vampire, of witches, of phantoms will be a very important component of our trip. But we couldn't do this without folks that knew and breathed and lived and spoke Romanian, so that we can be safe, we can be guided well, and we can be taught well. They will be the ones that are exposing and revealing these secrets that Romania has. Romania is very special. Romania is quite a secret. Unlike Ireland, that everybody knows every single ghost in Ireland and Scotland, Romania keeps theirs secretive. And so, but it also has this tremendous history. So we cannot ignore the phantoms that are there. In fact, they're much more powerful and much more darker than probably any other place in the world. For that, we will be guided by an incredible team called Romanian Thrill. Romanian Thrills are Vlad and Georgiana, and they live in Bucharest, and they know and love Romania. And they also love what we're doing. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and start the tour of Romania so that you can learn some of its legends and secrets. So hold on to your seat. You're going to love this. It's downloading because it's a pretty large file, so I apologize for that.
The ghost.
Oh, I know. The ghost. We always like to blame the ghost, don't we?
Always. For everything.
Yeah.
You didn't do the dishes, the ghost.
The ghost is doing it. Okay. Hopefully it'll come on soon. There we go.
Hi, everyone. This is Georgiana and Vlad, and together we are Romanian Thrills, a small travel company located in Romania that specializes in authentic experiences for people just like you that want to see our beautiful country.
We have been conducting tours in Romania, and especially niche tours. You get the chance to see them all over the internet. We got awarded for our tours, and we really wanted to develop something special, especially the myths and legends that our country and Transylvania has to offer.
Of course, most of the people that hear about Romania will hear about vampires, right? And we do have so many legendary locations that so few people know about that we are keen to show to you. And tonight you're here to unearth the secrets of Romania together with us, with Father Sebastian and with Patti Negri, and Maria, of course, from Mysterious Adventure Tours. So we would like to show you 4 different locations tonight that we believe are key locations to visit while touring Romania. And these places have a lot of paranormal activity, so many legends about them being haunted, so many ghost stories, right?
Even in the local folklore, there's a lot of things that happened and have been documented in the media, in the news, and in certain areas of the country, people still firmly believe in these traditions. And I would actually start, first of all, with Romania and debunking the myth already, because a lot of people ask us whether Romania is in Transylvania or how does it work. And we will introduce you to Transylvania, which is actually just a province of Romania. Without further ado, we will start with our first location, and I'll let Georgiana tell you a little bit more about one of the most haunted castles that you can find in Europe.
Right. So I will start with Corvin's Castle. Now, the name Corvin might be familiar to you because it did appear in so many movies in Hollywood and in other places. But Corvin's Castle is actually named by a lot of people one of the most haunted castles in Europe. Well, that happened because this is a medieval castle with a very impressive and complex history. It was started in the 14th and completed in the 15th century. Then it underwent several periods of restorations. Now, we have decided to share a video with Corvin's Castle, and the way it looks today, of course, it's not how it always looked, but it is very impressive. And in my opinion, it is my favorite castle in Romania.
It certainly has kept the medieval touch to it compared to some other castles that you see now, and they resemble more of a fairy tale or, you know, a Disney castle. But this one has been developed over the centuries and adapted to the war efforts, to the prisoners that were tortured in there and were kept in there. So it was a castle that has seen a lot of action.
That's true. So that's why people call it one of the most haunted, because a lot of people have found their end in the castle's prisons and towers. Now, there are so many legends around this castle, and I would like to name just a few of them. So, for example, we have the fountain of the castle, who is said to have been dug up by Turkish prisoners. They were promised their life if they managed to find water by digging into the hard rock. It took them 15 years. They managed to find water. But when they went and claimed their freedom, so to say, they were sentenced to death instead. And there is an inscription on the castle's walls that it's in Arabic that says, well, you have water, but you have no heart. Well, that is just a legend. The actual translation actually says
that Hassan and Abdul were here. So it's not as fancy as people who wanted to make this story look like, but there it's proof that actual prisoners were in there and people were tortured in those areas. We're not going to get into more details in here, but we do invite you to come over and explore more of Corvin's castle, be it online or be it here in Romania with us.
One thing that I want to mention further in Corvin's castle is that very close to the fountain, we have a bear pit. And if you know what the Colosseum was used for, then you will find out about the use of the bear pit in Corvin's castle. We didn't have a lot of lions. We only had bears in these forests.
We had to adapt to the fauna.
Exactly. The second location that we would like to visit tonight, and one of the most popular locations, no, I'd have to say it is the most popular location in Romania and in Transylvania, and that's because it's commonly known as Dracula's Castle, Bran Castle. And I want to leave you to talk about it because you're Vlad, right? You're Vlad's descendant.
Yes, I do have my duties to continue the works of my great ancestor, Vlad the Impaler, because a lot of people know Bran Castle nowadays as Dracula's Castle, the castle you see now in the video. And as you see, it's not as big, it's not as imposing, doesn't have as large drawbridges and so on. Now it looks more romantic if you look at it. Plus, it's not on a peak of a mountain. It just looks a little bit different than everything you would imagine in medieval times. Domesticated, modernized in a lot of aspects. But as you can see, it was built initially in raw stone, on the peak of a rock, right at the border of Transylvania, because this was a strategic point for commerce. They would charge duty on every traveler that would want to transport and sell their goods past these mountains in Transylvania, because Transylvania actually means the land beyond the forest. Trans, through, and silva, which means forest in Latin. Mm-hmm. So through the forest, you get in here, they would charge you a duty, and this was built initially to fend off invaders from the east. It was built by the Transylvanian Saxons that were German, people with German origins. They were great builders, great craftsmen. And you might wonder, how did this castle that served as a customs border basically became known as Dracula's Castle, or my great-great-great-grandfather's Vlad the Impaler's Castle. And it wasn't until 19th century actually that a writer by the name of Bram Stoker, of which anniversaries we're celebrating, actually put Bran Castle on the map, together with, in the 20th century, the communist regime in Romania, because it was a joint effort. Bram Stoker, from his home in Britain, in England, he was actually an Irish novelist, but he never visited Transylvania. He never came to Romania. He heard some stories, from some folk tales about werewolves, vampires, and all these crazy traditions in the land beyond the forest. It was an eerie area and he started documenting what happened and what are the local traditions over here. Because in order to get a really good novel, he was working on his great next book, and he needed a gothic horror character. He needed a location for his character, and of course some spooky tales. So he realized there was a connection with Vlad the Impaler, a ruthless leader of a Romanian province, and surprise, it wasn't Transylvania, that had connections with this castle. The reality, however, is that Vlad the Impaler, the ruler of this province in Romania, he never owned this castle. It was the merchant's castle, as I told you, but he was at war with them. They started inventing all kinds of stories about him, a little bit exaggerated, fake news that we are probably aware of nowadays. They were not invented in these past years. They were all along in the history. They developed Vlad the Impaler into this ruthless prince, the bloodthirsty ruler of Eastern Europe. And they turned him into the bad guy. Of course, again, it was medieval times, so probably it was complicated times for everyone. But
this makes me laugh so much because the times were complicated, but you know how people now think of Vlad the Impaler like this ruthless leader, and there is so much exaggeration and gossip at the end of the day. You will get to find out why I call it gossip when you go into more details about Corvin's castle and about the rulers of Corvin's castle and the Transylvanian Saxons. But Vlad did tell you something, a key information here, right? Bran Castle was never inhabited by Vlad the Impaler. We don't even know if he's been in the area. But I know you're curious, if Bran Castle is not Dracula's castle, which one is it? What is the location that he had to have a home, right? And that takes us to the other location, the real lair of Vlad the Impaler, Poinar Fortress. And now this fortress really looks exactly like it's worthy of Vlad the Impaler, right? Like it's renowned. Bran Castle looked domesticated, looked good on paper, but Poinar Fortress is located on top of a mountain in the middle of the forest. It takes 1,500 steps to climb to actually reach this location. And on top of it, it is one of the most haunted locations in Romania.
Well, there's not much left from it nowadays if you take a look compared to the other two castles we showed you. By the way, Bran Castle was electrified, was modernized by the kings and queens of Romania later in the 20th century. Poinar Fortress, the one that you see now, you clearly have a good view of where it stands. So it's on the peak of a mountain, on a mountaintop, very difficult to access. Think of that, those roads you see in these video didn't exist back in the days. It was very complicated to bring an army to siege this fortress. However, Vlad the Impaler was fighting one of the greatest armies of all times, especially medieval Europe. It was the Ottoman Empire, what we know nowadays of Turkey. They wanted to push towards Western Europe, and of course, it was also a war on religions. But they had such a vast, they had such vast resources that they definitely brought in artillery, cannons, and other modern weaponry for those times. They managed to besiege this fortress and actually destroy it. In one of those attacks, Vlad the Impaler actually escaped through a secret passage and managed to take refuge in Transylvania. But the fortress really saw a lot of blood spill, and for this reason, a lot of people think it is haunted today.
That, and we need to mention about the story of Vlad the Impaler's wife, who actually committed suicide and threw herself into the river below when she heard that the Ottoman army was on their doorsteps and sieging the fortress. She didn't see a way out, and she didn't want to fall prey to the Ottomans. So people say that during the night, if you spend the night there next to the fortress, you get to still hear her scream.
I've never been there at night, but this might be an opportunity for everyone.
I say that you can hear the screams of the people that dare to go at night in those forests because they're full of brown bears. Because we are talking about haunted locations, now I want to talk to you about some paranormal locations. We do have a very special forest. I want to say that it's one of the most haunted forests in the world at this point, like with the most paranormal activity, is called Hoia Baciu Forest. And we have a small video to show you. It's actually a trailer of a group of people that did a documentary about this forest. Do you want to...
So you can, this one has sound, so we'll just share it with you folks, and then we'll debrief it right after it.
Yeah. Well, actually, it does not have sound, so I think we have some technical issues. But Hoia Baciu Forest is also known as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. So we will talk a little bit about what you're seeing right now. The name of the forest comes from a shepherd who went missing in the forest with a flock of 200 sheep. They were never found, and the forest itself came to the international attention during communism in the 70s, when a military technician actually came out and said that he photographed UFOs from this forest. Now, what makes this story different from other UFO claims is that this particular technician had nothing to gain from reporting UFO sightings in communist Romania, right? He had everything to lose. The Communist Party could have deemed him crazy and executed him. So we tend to believe that what he saw might be true. Now, even today, people do report a lot of paranormal activity from inside the forest, ectoplasms, different lights that pop up into your photos if you take photos at night in the forest. And what's really boggling the scientists is the forest itself, because the trees look like they're diseased. They have all sorts of different shapes and roots and branches. Unexplained, there's no fungus or anything growing on the trees themselves. They cannot say why the trees in the forest nearby grow normally and inside this forest they grow differently. So what's also interesting is that the forest itself has a clearing, right? The clearing is it's a patch where no trees grow. It's just grass, and it's located exactly in the center of the forest. And of course, people call that the UFO landing spot. Now, we have been to Hoia Baciu Forest recently, just last year, was it? Or yeah, last year. And we did have some sightings from the clearing. Like, we took some photos very close to it, and some weird lights did pop up in our photos. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And at one point, Vlad did disappear.
You might not hear me. I'm silent because for me, it was quite an experience, and I'm quite of an irrational guy, but I think there's much more to be discovered in there. Absolutely.
Yeah. And from Hoia Baciu Forest, if you've survived the night tour in the forest, we want to take you to the fifth and final location tonight, and that's Witch's Pond. Witch's Pond is actually, when you look at it first, it doesn't tell you anything. It's literally a pond, a muddy pond in the middle of the forest. But the story of this location is that this is where Vlad the Impaler was decapitated. It's a forest located very close to Bucharest, and today the White Witches of Romania use this place to perform their magic. This pond never changes its shape. the water never changes the dimensions. Like it never retracts, it never grows. No matter how much it rains, no matter how much it snows, it never changes shape.
It's something that needs to be experienced. I would say a picture doesn't do it justice. And we invite everyone to come in and you know, take a tour around these areas and let you folks decide for yourselves. But we just wanted to have a sneak peek around a tour that we offer in there and the niche activities we can do together, because it's not something that's on everyone's radar.
Yep. Hopefully this has given you a taste, just as Vlad said. These are just some of the most important locations that are filled with paranormal or ghost activities, but there are so many other locations that very few people talk about in Romania, but they're equally as fascinating and as interesting to discover. So what's missing now, it's you to actually come here and investigate all of this by yourself.
Enjoy the rest of your day. It was nice talking to you today, and hopefully we'll see you in Romania soon.
Have a great day, everyone.
Take care.
So I want to thank Romanian Thrills for putting that together. It's easy for them. Well, technically it's hard, and obviously you saw some of the little problems, but generally speaking, I love what they did. It's easy for them because they love Romania and they love its secrets, its mysteries, and they're so looking forward to seeing this. Now, I don't think I mentioned, guys, in the beginning of our presentation that this is the day we'll be there is the 125th anniversary when the publication of Dracula was submitted by Bram Stoker. So to be there in Romania, even though Bram didn't have much of an influence over Romania, but the legends do, is very, very incredible. So any comments from Patti and Father Sebastian? Are you excited?
I am so excited. I'm sorry, I muted myself during that. No, again, the magic, looking at those places and seeing what they are, what we're going to do there. Yeah, I muted myself. It's going to be amazing. And again, we are magical. We are all magical people, Maria too. And what we can do there, this positive, beautiful, mystical, magical, talk about ghosts and spirits, and let's do a good, beautiful, positive, but magical ritual at that witch's pond. Can't wait to see the ghost. I'm just giddy as a schoolgirl, so you guys better join us.
I can't wait to go back to Romania, and my first experience kind of got my virginity of Romania, busted. One thing I like to say about
we're still virgins, Patti and I. So just for your information,
yes, we're still virgins.
It's like a Rocky Horror loss of virginity.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who like Rocky Horror and understand my joke, I think that you've put together a phenomenal team, Maria, and I'm looking very much forward to filling in the missing blanks of what I didn't get to see in Romania and bring my experience to light. It's been 7 years since I've been there, and I'm just looking forward to going back into the cafe where I met Andrea Bathory, and Andrea Bathory is a conservative, controversial character that I really, 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 I really adore her and him. And he gave me a really good experience of going there, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with everybody else.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very incredible. I mean, just the fact that we're going to go in a special time, and you saw the Hoya Forest. Not many tourists include that because it is difficult to get in there. So this trip is not for folks that are have difficulty in ambulation, etc. It's it's quite an experience physically to go up to the real Dracula's castle, the fortress. It's 160 steps, so it's not Of course, we will not go there with the bears, and don't worry about the bears. We will have bear spray with us, and
There's bear spray.
yeah, there's bear sprays and
Oh, that's
bear
so cool.
horns, and I will make sure we get everywhere protected. But anyone that goes to Romania is not going to expect a Disneyland effect. It's not going to expect that comfort and that, you know, pretty much design space. It's natural, it's raw, it's beauty, and it's intense. So it's going to be one that we will remember for many, many years. We'll have other trips to Romania in the future, but nothing is going to be like this one because of the celebration of the anniversary. So if you want to get a little information on that, of course, go to our website, and that's mysteriousAdventures.com, our tours, and you'll see the Romanian trip there is one of the ones on top. Make sure you do that. I'm sure you have a lot of questions and you want some more information. We are creating a tribe, and the tribe will get immediate access to the announcements that we're going to do right now. So are you ready for the announcements, guys? Come on, let's get a little excitement. Yeah.
We're ready. We're ready.
Well, first of all, the first thing on that is COVID. And just 5 days ago, most of the UK and Ireland have made the COVID regulations less taxing. So it's a very good indicator that things will be coming back to normal, certainly by May. So it used to be that we used to test to have to go in and test to leave, whether you were vaccinated or not. Right now, if you're vaccinated, you are not going to have to do that. So a lot of things are returning back to normal in the tourism world, and Romania depends a lot on its tourism. Remember, the number one thing in Romania is Dracula's castle and Bucharest and Transylvania and bears. So they want to make sure that we are there to see their bears. Am I scaring people about the bears? I am, but I think bears are fun. Anyway, the second thing I want to mention as well is the pride that I have in having Endless Night sponsor this tour. Endless Night, you see this creator, it's Father Sebastian. And they're the vampire balls and all the beautiful events that he holds. This is the first time that Endless Night will have a vampire ball at Dracula's castle on that night. So we've decided to shift. We're going to have the 4-course dinner at Brahms Castle. And instead of having the paranormal investigation, we still have the tour, of course, but we're not going to do the paranormal investigation because we're going to give you something a lot more powerful than Brahms Castle. But we are going to have the vampire ball at Dracula's castle, at Brahms Castle. So that is magnificent. Thank you, Father Sebastian, for leading the way on this. I'm so proud to have that, and I'm sure Romania will be very proud to have your Endless Night event featured there for the first time. And we will have the investigation at the Corvin's Castle. So the Corvin's Castle is an amazing place. It is absolutely drenched with phantoms. Vlad Tepes has been known to lurk in the dungeons as well. So this is going to be a magnificent place to go. That being said, that's something that we have not added to the itinerary yet. We will be making it public known. Another thing that I want to mention is that we are giving away one tour without the airfare, but entire tour, land tour, as a contest. We're running that. If you're interested in how to join the contest, I will again sign up for our mailing list, and we will send you that link that will get you to apply for an entry for the contest. On February 12th, we're going to have a spectacular, another anniversary tour in New Orleans to launch off this tour. And we're going to be at the Vampire Cafe and the Petite Theater to showcase the original premiere of Bela Lugosi's Dracula, which happened 91 years ago on this day at the Roxy, not the Roxy Theater, I'm sorry, at the Petite Theater. It was in New York in the Roxy Theater 91 years ago, but we're going to shift it over to New Orleans because that's a lot more fun. And last but not least, and I hope he's still with us because I know he's going to be running into a radio show, I'd like to introduce our new co-star ambassador to our trip, and that's Father James Anito. And I think I could bring him on. There you go.
Oh, good
Oh
evening.
my God. We've got it all covered. We got the trifecta. Don't
Yes,
we?
we do.
Huh? So welcome aboard. He's going to be
Thank you.
helping us on the tour. Just personally, I think I need a priest to take care of me. I'm just kidding. Being a
Carrie,
Catholic.
are you there? Carrie, can you
Yeah?
take that water from her?
Okay. So there's a slight emergency with Patti Negri. So James, welcome along and let us know a little bit about you and how are you going to be a part of this?
Well, to be politically correct, I'm a deacon, so not a father, but I am Reverend Mr. James, a technical title. I don't use it though. Just call me James. I'm a demonologist and a paranormal investigator and researcher for the past 16 years. To me, it's been a kind of like academic study for most of my life due to a childhood upbringing that I dealt with. Trauma, makes you kind of wonder about faith and the morals that we live in as a society. But once again, I am a demonologist. What demonology is, as represented by my group that I am a part of with legendary demonologist Carl L. Johnson, dual demonology, shout out. But it is the study of the lore and traditions of wicked spirits. And in this case, with Romania, troubled spirits, just like the Divik of the Judaic belief, and the Strigoi of Romania. So I am also a theologian. I do and have studied religions from animism all the way to the Pastafarians that exist nowadays. Flying Spaghetti Monster, shout out. Just kidding, guys. But I am also a student of psychology, and I do go to school for psychology to go for that route as well, because I do believe in trauma and paranormal being a kind of a synchronicity. So I'm also a member of a parapsychological group, PPRI, which is a Canadian and New England group. But what fascinates me about this the most, and Father Sebastian, we've got to talk earlier, but pleasure to meet you, Patti. Finally, pleasure to meet you, Maria. It's a pleasure to see you again after we've seen each other in Rochester. But what's fascinating to me is not do I also get to take my experience as a paranormal investigator, and I've gotten to investigate all the way from Maine to California, and there are a lot of haunted locations in California, but I get to come from, of course, New England, the start of the North American and our concept in Western culture, right? But I also get to come from the home base of one of the second most vampiric lore traditions out there, and that's a person called Mercy Brown, which I'm not too far from, and I've got to investigate and also got to look upon. But that is the second most known vampire in most people's ideology. So I get to take a lot of me and what I've come across and get to apply it with these two great individuals, and of course you, Maria, and we get to give a great tour. I don't think anybody's going to be ashamed of coming to this. I think they're going to get the trifecta, as you said. Not to be egocentric, but I think we all come up from a different perspective.
Yes.
That has a lot of synergy. That'll just make it dynamic and a different tour than anybody's ever experienced in their life.
Yes. And I am so excited to have you, and we'll be making the announcement publicly on all the social medias. But we wanted to save it for here because
Perfect.
this is our special group here that we are exposing and revealing the mysteries of Romania. One of them is Capri James and Nito. So thank you.
Yes.
I want to remind everyone, thank you for being a part of this. I want you all to get a chance to win a tour to Romania. I also want you to be a part of our mailing list so that we can keep you updated first and foremost about things that are going to be happening in Romania, whether you're coming with us or not. It still engages us in, because when we are in Romania, we'll probably do some live streaming. We'll probably do some good videography. We're going to keep you engaged. So those that are in our Vagabond Romanian Tour mailing list will be the ones that know about this first access. So it's free to join, of course, but most of all, you become our VIPers, electronically. So I'll go ahead and put let's see where it is. There it is. That's our, if you want to join our tribe, that's our, let me take off the, here, hold on a second. Just to make it easy for you guys. There we go. There's it. It's bit.ly, and it's Romanian tribe. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the comments as well, and put it all over the internet. But those that did participate on that, there is a promo code that you will need to get a beautiful $100 gift credit to the tour. So it reduces it by $100. Plus, we're going to send you a secret, mysterious gift that you will love. Again, you will get that information by putting in the promo code, which is, oh my goodness, I lost my promo code. Let's see. Just did it. It's
Ghosts. Blame the ghosts.
yeah,
Works for everything.
Yeah.
it does, doesn't it? Oh, that's terrible. I had it here, and darn it, you know what? I will, okay, if you give me 1 second, I should have it. Where did it, seriously, it just plain disappeared. It was right in front of me. It is the ghost. It is the ghost. Horrible ghost. I'll tell you what, if you put your email address on the comments or on my or actually on a private message, that way we keep your information secured. Private message me, Geister Maria Schmidt, or Mysterious Adventure Tours, and say, I just watched, give me that promo code, and I'll send it to you, okay? Anyway, but go ahead and sign up for the Romanian Tribe mailing list, which is below. That will give you access to a lot of things, including the contest and the and as well as the promotional code. Okay. Hey guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. We made it a full hour of bliss in Romania. And what I'm going to do is, I know James has to leave. He's got his wonderful podcast that he has to jump
Yes.
right
Ghost
into.
Box with Greg. Shout out.
Yay! So we'll see you soon. And I'm going to say goodbye to James. And then I'm going to go ahead and see and open up the comments. And if there's any questions that you guys are going to be able to offer, be glad to do that. Any questions out there? Is there going to be a tribe for each tour? Why not? I love tribes. What do you think? Yeah, let's do it. Yes, it will be. There'll be a live stream just like this, revealing the mysteries off for every destination we go to. And with that, we create a tribe. So this is important because that way we keep united, whether it's under Romanian skies or under Irish skies or Scottish skies. Yes, it's we will be doing that. Here's a little note from Romanian Thrills. Thank you. Try looking for the promo code in the mysterious chest next to the door. Let us know if it appeared there by mistake. No, I don't think so. I know that's Vlad speaking. So I don't believe so, Vlad, but good deal. Jen, Why did you not mention snakes? Oh, yes. Okay, so there's a little thing called snakes, but we have them in the United States too. It's like being in Tennessee. You have snakes, you have bears. No different, except yeah, they're good. They're good snakes, sir. They're good snakes. Any other questions from the crowd? If not, we will make this a phenomenal adventure. And I just found, for the 25 that are still here, I just found the promo code. And the promo code, let me write it on here so you can see it. It is, there we go. Okay, it is Dracula 2022. How simple was that, guys, huh? How did I mess that up? I could have called it Father Sebastian 2022 or Negri 2022, but no, I chose Dracula 2022 because he was pretty amazing when he came on the film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. What we're going for. That's what we're
going for. The Dracula thing. Yes. Dracula 2022. Thank you all for joining us. God bless you. Lovely day. Thank you.